Hello to you. So what we've learned is I'm not as good as Julian McCulloch. That's my intro. From now on, every city I go to, he's great, but not as good as Julian McCulloch. Come on stage. Man. It's really nice to be in Chicago. I've been traveling all over the world the last couple of years. I was doing a show in Denmark last year where I got heckled in a way I'd never been heckled before. A man got up in the middle of my show and he yelled out, "Hey, go back to America," which is incredible. Because I've been told to go back to so many countries and never to America. So I've been told to go back to Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, whatever country we're bombing, I'm told to go back there. At perhaps the least opportune time to go back. It was nice to finally hear America, country I was born and raised. I'm curious right now. How old do you all think I am? Just out of curiosity. I'm 45. Yeah, I'm 45. Yeah. Not legally. Like I was born 29 years ago, but like I identify with 45. Like I feel 45, you know. I wish I was 45. Because when you're 45, nobody can tell you what to do. You are who you are. No one questions your choices anymore. You're 45. If I'm 45, I don't need to hear people say things like, "Hey, hurry, put that copy of The New Yorker down and join us on the dance floor." No, I'm 45. What am I doing in a nightclub? I don't want to be here. I'm 45. I want to be in a dimly lit restaurant drinking my favorite dessert wine. Preferably Moscato. Yes. 45. It's a state of mind. It's tricky though. It's tricky with dating, right? Because I still kind of want to date women in my like general age range of 25 to 32, but that's difficult because I'm like 45, right? So what that means is I need to find women that want to date an older man, but will settle for me. How does that work? Well, you gotta frame it a certain way. You have to frame it a certain way. You have to say things like, "Hey, do you want to date an older man, but don't want to deal with the baggage of his adult children? Well, I'm your guy." Have you always been attracted to your father's friends, but don't want to destroy your family? I'm your guy. Do you appreciate a man that pours Bailey's Irish cream into warm milk before he goes to sleep and unironically refers to it as adult Ovaltine? I'm your guy. What? You've never seen Quantum Leap? I'm your guy. Don't worry, I won't cheat on you because that might require me leaving my apartment. Call me. I live in Brooklyn, New York. Yeah. I live in kind of a bougie neighborhood in Brooklyn. I know it was bougie because the first day I moved in there, I was walking around my neighborhood and I saw a hybrid Escalade. Yeah. Think about that. A hybrid Escalade. What kind of people are buying hybrid Escalades? Well, you see, I'm an environmentalist and my husband's a f***ing asshole, so this is how we compromise to keep this shitty marriage together. I like the fact this is. I just realized while I was saying it. Oh right, this is being recorded for TBS. That's it. And my husband's up. Oh no. It's a shame. I wanted that one to be used, but now it's over. All right. So I live in New York. It's funny. New York's like a cosmopolitan city. It's a very diverse city, so people just assume that it's not racist, which is not true, right? It's a very, very racist city. I'll tell you a story. A couple of years ago, I was on a subway train, and sitting across from me are 5 or 6 kids. They were speaking Spanish. I don't know their ethnicity. It wasn't a big deal. You know, they're just kind of speaking Spanish. Friday night, 15, 16 years old, whatever. All right, 2 stops in, all of a sudden this dude walks on the train. He's like probably in his mid-50s, built, he's a white dude, right? Sat down next to me, and he just starts staring at these kids, and he's clearly annoyed that they're speaking Spanish, right? But initially he's not saying anything, but I know he's annoyed because I hear him breathing. He's like, the whole time I'm thinking, oh, is he gonna eat him? Like what happens next? So he stands up and he walks over to these kids, right? And he's like, hey, this is America. You speak English. And he sits back down next to me, right? So I turn to him and I'm like, hey man, this is New York City. They can speak whatever language they want to speak. You had no right to say that to them. And he turns to me and he's like, yeah? Well, I was a Marine. Semper Fi. Now, I've had this lifelong dream not to die. And this clearly came at odds with said dream. But I wasn't gonna let it go. And I turned to him again, and I'm like, hey man, I don't know what country you fought for, but in this country, people can speak whatever language they want. You had no right to say that to those children. And he turns to me again, and he's like, yeah? Is that right? Semper Fi. And I turned to him, and I'm like, hey man, this is America, speak English. And yeah. And at the very next stop, with my head held high, I got off that train. Now, granted, my stop was 35 minutes away, but you do what you have to do to stay in the game, right? That's how this works. Race, still a very big issue in this country. Affirmative action, of course, still something that people argue about. I support affirmative action. I don't think it's the ideal system. I think it's the best that we have till we solve inequality, so that's what we're going to use. But you hear protests all over the country, especially on college campuses. You have college Republicans all over the country protesting affirmative action. And last year at the University of California, Berkeley, the college Republicans on that campus decided to protest by having an affirmative action bake sale, right? So what they did at this affirmative action bake sale was if you were white, you had to pay $2 for a baked good, right? If you were Asian, you paid $1.50. If you were Latino, you paid $1. If you were black, you paid 75 cents. And if you were Native American, you paid $0.25. And the point that they were making was, see? Look it. And that was it. That was pretty much it. See and look it. And people got very upset. There were some very angry blog entries and people writing angry tweets in all caps and stuff like that. Really important responses, right? And I was frustrated because if I was a college student on that campus at the University of California, Berkeley, I would have done something different. I wouldn't have just gotten angry like that. What I would have done is I would have organized all the Native American students on campus, right? And I would have had them buy all the baked goods at the heavily subsidized cost of $0.25, effectively ending the bake sale, right? Or the second thing I would have done was organized all the Native American students and had them kill all the Republicans and take everything. Yeah, I ran that joke about my mother, as I do, and she said, you know, that's very funny, but is the killing necessary? And I said, it's funny you say that, Mom, because the Native Americans asked the Europeans the same question. And it was a resounding yes, apparently. We're in the middle of our next presidential election. I find it amazing that we've never elected a female president. And a big reason for that is that we have men in this country that are so sexist that they say things like, oh, we can't elect a woman. Because you know what's going to happen if we elect a woman, right? Like once a month, she's going to have her period and have PMS and go crazy. She'll ruin the country. There are men who believe this. There are men who believe that a woman, because of her biology, has her judgment impaired once a month. Well, I'm a man who happens to have a penis and testicles, and my judgment is impaired every 5 to 7 minutes. And I'll be honest with you, I wake up some mornings with my judgment impaired. So. And that is a feminist joke. They said it couldn't be done. That's what you can do when you waste your education. There you go. It's great, it's great. So much sexism, man. My least favorite musical group of all time is one of the most sexist groups ever, and they were the Pussycat Dolls. I hated the Pussycat Dolls, right? I hated the Pussycat Dolls for 2 reasons. First reason I hated the Pussycat Dolls, because I could imagine being a 14-year-old girl, which is already kind of funny if you can imagine, like short, pigtails and pudgy and braces and mustache. It was kind of funny. I had a mustache at 14, it's kind of funny, right? I could imagine being a 14-year-old girl being self-conscious about my body and seeing the Pussycat Dolls and hating myself even more, right? They were a bulimia machine, which is one reason I hated them, right? Second reason I hate the Pussycat Dolls is that they were extremely dishonest, right? Their first big hit was a song called Don't You Wish Your Girlfriend Was Hot Like Me, and there are lyrics missing from that song that they never tell you about. And tonight I brought those missing lyrics with me. Yes, yes. Here are the missing lyrics from Don't You Wish Your Girlfriend Was Hot Like Me. Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me, even though she loves you unconditionally? Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me, even though you yourself were quite chubby? Don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me, even though she was there for you that night your dad died, and as you cried in her arms, you realized she was the only reason you had left for living? But still, though, don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me? Don't ya? Now, some of you clapped. The rest of you are wrong. Now, if you play the song in reverse, there are hidden messages on it as well. Don't listen to us. We're really ugly on the inside. We hate ourselves. Don't leave her. She loves you. The record company makes us say these terrible things. They shock us when we tell the truth. 666. Thank you very much. My name is Kondabolu.